Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Megan Cronhardt, and I'm excited to talk to you about MilSuite. Quick show of hands or likes. Who all has heard of MilSuite prior to today? All right, that's pretty good. Well, for those of you who haven't heard of us, I am beyond excited to tell you a little bit about what we affectionately refer to as the DoD's best kept secret. So this is just a quick snapshot of what we're going to talk about today. Primarily, we're going to spend most of the time in that center section about MilSuite as a social business platform. So just kind of looking ahead. But why would you want to use MilSuite? We've just heard a lot about LinkedIn and the benefits of that. But MilSuite, in this fiscally constrained environment, it could be easy to forego security and collaborate on public social media sites because it's easy, because it's convenient, and something that we all are familiar with. But MilSuite mimics the public social media experience so that it's easier for you to make that transition and work securely behind the DoD firewall. So using the same types of concepts and practices that you would use on public social, you're able to do the same, but confidently and securely behind that firewall. Getting into some of the important stuff, MilSuite is a government system and program provided by Army CIO G6, and we are an accredited business system hosted at DISA. And the big takeaway here is that it is incredibly easy to register. We basically do it for you. There's no barrier to entry other than your CAC. And as I said about the registration, it's one click. So you registering for the first time is really no different from me signing in after being on MilSuite for almost 2 years. So we pull all of your profile information for you using other DoD systems. So instead of you having to put in your email and your phone number and your location time and time again, because we know you do that a lot, we do that for you. And anytime you move or PCS, that information changes with you. And on MilSuite, the information that you post is open and secure. So again, since we're an accredited DoD business system, we're available to all DoD CAC holders, including active and reserve military, civilians, and contractors. So everybody's able to get together and work in one place. The information on MilSuite is open by default and restricted by exception. So what that means is that we want you to share the information that you're posting. Traditionally, the DoD has been more need to know, but we're seeing a shift into more of a need to share type environment. By sharing the information, you're saving time, you're saving money, you're saving yourself from having to reinvent the wheel over and over again. But we understand that sometimes you do need to probably work in private with just the people that you want to work with. And that's totally okay too. You can restrict access and work in small private working groups so that way you can have those conversations that maybe you don't necessarily want to release to the rest of the community on MilSuite. And since MilSuite is everyone, we've registered over 850,000 people since MilSuite's inception 7 years ago, across all services, across a multitude of organizations. People are coming together to share their expertise and experiences on MilSuite. So you're wondering, okay, well, who else is using it and why should this matter to me? Nearly every profession in the DoD is on MilSuite. Since it's about people, we allow those people to do their jobs, to get information, to seek out people or answers to solve their problems. So MilSuite is home to major professional services that are dealing with some really hard-hitting topics like health and wellness, sexual assault, and suicide prevention, in addition to some of the professional working communities that are connecting with their colleagues like in the medical and the legal field as well. But most importantly, MilSuite is your network. So in MilSuite and in one of the applications, MilBook particularly, you are able to build your professional networks using these robust profiles with real-time updates. So again, like I said, if you PCS or you change organizations, the information on your CAC is going to be updated. And then when you log back into MilSuite, we pull that information for you. So it's that real-time update. There's no confirming to make sure that everything is set the way it's supposed to be. We do it for you. Once you start to build up your network, you can now share your expertise with the other users on MilSuite. You can share status updates, contribute to a blog, and engage in discussions and collaboration to, again, share your experience, your expertise, and act as that subject matter expert on questions that people may have. When conversations start to get really focused, that's when you can join or create these collaboration groups. So really specific conversations and topics, or even if you're creating one for your organization, you can have these groups that are either open or private, or you can choose to create what we call communities that have more granular permissions if you're looking for something that is very sort of permissions-based controlled. And on MilSuite, you're in charge. And this is something that's really unique, is that you are entirely in control of your own experience. You're able to choose what you follow and how you get notified by following items either in what we call your MilBook inbox, or you can receive email notifications. So a lot of users that come in maybe aren't using MilSuite that often, and they don't want to miss anything that's coming to them. So they'll keep their email notifications turned on. And then once they start to really get active and follow more things and really start to get inundated with activity, they'll realize that they're relying on MilSuite more, and they'll turn those email notifications off. I know it took me about a week before I realized that I was getting way too many emails, so I cut that out, and I rely entirely on my MilSuite notifications to tell me what's going on. You also have the choice as to how you see your information. So you can choose to either keep these activity streams as a landing page for your MilBook home, or you can set more of a static home page that can show you sort of your recently and frequently viewed content, helpful links, and again, sort of act as a dashboard for the activities that you're working on. And then when you really want to get specific, you have the ability to create these custom streams. So instead of just having all of this information coming into you, in an activity stream from people and places and content items from all over MilSuite, you're able to create these custom curated lists of people and places that are specific to exactly what you want to see. You're essentially subscribing to information that way by picking and choosing what you want to see and know about. Oops. Next slide, I believe. I'm sorry. Thank you. So up until now, we've primarily been focused more on MilBook, which is the social collaboration platform application. But we can't forget about its sibling application processes. You're able to create and edit articles, as well as create and use custom templates and forms to really standardize the information that you want your users to see and read. MilTube is the platform for sharing all sorts of video that is related to the DoD, and it's really becoming a standard for sharing system videos or announcements from senior leadership, in addition to other training videos. So all of these applications integrate together, and they really work hand in hand, even though they're separate. So I have to almost compare it to the public social sites that it's emulating. And to give an example, it would be like if I came out of work one day and noticed that my car had a flat tire. Now, I'm pretty sure I know how to change the flat tire, but I just want to be sure. So I'm going to pull out my phone and I'm going to search for instructions on how to change a tire. and I'll probably watch a short video, and it might be snackable, and it may not actually be as long as changing a tire, but it'll give me a good idea of what I'm looking for. After that, I might jump over and read a WikiHow article on actually how to change the flat tire. It'll give me more of the nuts and bolts, no pun intended, of how to go about changing the tire. And when I'm finished, I'll probably post a picture and just update my friends on Facebook or on another social site to say, look what I did. I can change my tire, and I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. And with that, people are probably going to comment with congratulations or praise, or might even say, you really didn't know how to do that before. But they're going to offer their own expertise and their own experiences in this sharing environment. And each one of those pieces helps to tell the story about how I changed the tire on my car. And the exact same is done through using these 3 different applications. Yes, they're different. Yes, they're separate. But because of the way they all work together, it really creates that overall story of what you're looking to do. Like I said, you're using familiar social concepts. So through the use of tags and @mentions, you're able to share content to people and other places. So I can share a document or a blog post with a group or with an individual to say, hey, I think this is really something you'd be interested in. And then they can like and they can rate it to really engage with me, the author, or me, the sharer, to really make everything kind of smaller and more collaborative. It's almost a little bit easier to use these principles than on public social, which what I've found. I never know if I need to put a space or an underscore if I'm tagging something that has 2 words. With this, with MilSuite, when I start to create a tag or start to mention something, I get suggestions. So if I'm not sure how I know how this tag is supposed to end, it's going to suggest some that users have already contributed to MilSuite. So instead of creating a bunch of different tags that are a little slightly off, I get to contribute the content to that particular tag to really centralize and keep everything consistent. But MilSuite is home to a lot of major efforts as well. It's not solely these little one-off instances or users that are floating around doing their own thing. And just I want to highlight a few of these. The Army Ideas for Innovation program is relatively new. I think it's been around for about 3 months at this point. And this program replaced the Army Suggestion Program. So the team there is collecting ideas from all Army personnel because they want to make the Army a better and more efficient place. And they're doing phenomenally well. And it's definitely been fun to work with them and see how they're succeeding. Another example would be the Navy medicine community. The Navy Nurse Corps organization has done, again, a tremendous job. They've got, using a network of groups, they're able to work together in one sort of main high-level group, and then leaders from different specialties are creating little one-off groups where they can have their really focused conversations about their medical specialty. And their membership has just boomed into an amazing force on MilSuite. And finally, there's major weapons systems training, like the Air Force's Advanced CIED awareness, and their videos on MilTube are some of the most highly watched videos that we have. So everybody's represented, using different platforms, doing great things. Like I said, just a small snapshot of what's happening on MilSuite. So at this point, you're probably thinking, well, how on earth am I going to remember any of this? We've got a great team that will support you through various ways. One of our applications called MilUniversity is full of training materials, tutorials, and procedures to walk you through anything from as simple as creating a status update or uploading a video to running a community with really granular advanced permissions. We also have specific user communities for each of the applications, so you don't have to worry about filtering through questions related to a specific application. You can just go right to the MilBook users community or the MilTube users community and ask your question there. But we really believe in leveraging the community to get feedback and answers to questions. We want you to work out loud, and we would encourage you to post questions and any new things that you find out for the rest of the community. If our training videos and user communities and kind of training sessions don't answer your question, you're always more than welcome to reach out to a MilSuite team member for some more one-on-one assistance. And we're always willing to reach out and help you along if you ever need that assistance. So again, what is MilSuite? It is an enterprise social platform with over 850,000 registered users. MilSuite is collaboration because it uses social features to network users and allow you to talk to your peers, your subordinates, your superiors in an open and collaborative place. But MilSuite is secure. It's the secure alternative to public social where you can have, again, those collaborative conversations that you probably wouldn't want to have out in the public. And MilSuite is transparent because the information that you post is set to be open by default and restricted by exception to everybody in the DoD because MilSuite is the DoD. We're available to anyone with a DoD CAC, whether you are, regardless of where you are in the world. And that's part of the beauty of it is that we can be accessed from anywhere with a DoD CAC reader. And just like you, we're on public social media. So while we encourage you to talk to us on MilSuite, we understand that a lot of the times you need to talk to us on public social as well. So we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we are on Instagram, and we love having conversations with our users. Like I said, we like talking to you behind the DoD firewall, but sometimes conversations on public social happen as well. So again, I thank you all for having me, and at this point I would like to open the floor for questions.
Hello. Thank you so much for the presentation. Well, I wanted to know from an internal communications perspective, is there a way that we can load users to associated organization and we're able to push material to them without having them to register to like a page?
There's sort of a way to do that. In order to get any MilSuite information to those users, they do have to join the site. But there are ways to focus essentially conversations through the use of some of those permission-based places like communities that we can focus conversations based on organization. So it's kind of doing that separation for you. We would just need to get them into MilSuite first, if that helps.
Okay.
Can you go into the mobile ready portion? I know I've tried to look at articles from my phone and I can't get into them several times. I don't know how you actually access it through mobile.
So MilSuite is mobile ready. We're accessible on mobile devices if you have a CAC reader. But there might be some features that may not render as well as if you were on a desktop version. There's some different layouts depending on how someone would set up a group that are only accessible on a desktop versus another layout which is mobile and desktop friendly. So it could be something hopefully as simple as that. If you're able to access the site, though, from a mobile device, you should be able to find the article that you're looking for, regardless of where it would be posted. Are there any other questions?
I sense that you, because you mentioned CAC Reader a couple of times, I sense that the MilSuite is accessible for DoD in the US only. And my question is twofold. The first one I can fill in myself, I think, because it's going to be no. But the second one is maybe interesting. Are you planning to expand or seeking, is that a strategy for you to expand your users to other military personnel from other countries as well?
Let's see. So it's kind of a two-part question. So MilSuite is accessible from outside of the US, but only with the DoD CAC. So I can't say definitively if we are planning on opening up to foreign affiliates, but it would still only be accessible with a DoD CAC.
We good? Awesome. Thank you very much. We'll put our hands together for him.